Okay, I'm putting the final touches on this just quick experimental scene. I was testing out the Spooky Sky set, which is a set of 4 different images, 2 clouds, and two different sizes of this new cloud and moon. I should have made impressions of these, but these are the 4 stamps right here. There's a couple kind of negative space clouds, and you'll see it used in this video if you watch it. But and these are a couple different sizes of the cloud with moon. They're called Spooky Cloud with Moon, but I'm just doing this, I don't know, little test of kind of the smaller version of that moon right here. It'd be like that. And I just wanted to do it in a couple different values here just to show the different kind of emotional tones that can be achieved from that set right here. This is a scene right here that I'll do in this video where all of those clouds and different images, not both moons, but just one moon and the 2 clouds, have been stamped out in black. Kind of gives it a more kind of heavy, imposing type of quality to the imagery. And then, of course, using the bare trees kind of accents that kind of same emotional tone. But you can stamp out, you know, those same types of images in a light value, or a lighter value. In this case it would be kind of a medium blue, kind of a rich blue. It's the Marvy number 10. And you can give kind of that background a completely different emotional quality. That goes for really any sky imagery, not just this set here, but if you stamp out a cloud out in black, it's going to look a lot different, or it'll have a different feel than if you stamp it out in a light blue. So skies often give the kind of emotional, they set the emotional tone for a scene, in my opinion, because that's kind of where the lighting comes from, you know, as far as influencing the rest of the imagery in a scene, or color scheme in a scene, I should say. Okay, now this is just, I stamped out an entire sky in this scene. Then as I started streaking in some color, I thought maybe this would be more interesting if I kind of broke it up and created a horizon. Well, all I did was I just took a piece of paper, and there it is right there, and I just used a sponging method, and I streaked in some colors from this side and from this side right here, and it left me with that. So I worked it through, and I put the same kind of base values of blue in here, which would be a really light blue, and a kind of a slightly darker one. Then I went with my medium darker tones down in that water to create that horizon, and it's a simple way to make kind of a body of water. You can put an island with some trees here in the background if you want to do that. I just left it blank, like, I don't know. I just wanted to do a quick example of it for the for this video here. But kind of a fun way to work, and that those clouds down in that water kind of gives the, you know, the surface of the water some additional texture. So when it comes to bodies of water, you know, you can always stamp out imagery that is in your sky, down in the water area, reflecting it. I mean, I could have even stamped that cloud with moon down here if I wanted to. But I don't know, when I look at something like this, I mean, that's a moon, but for me, that could, you know, when the scene is finished off this way and there's so much light area in there, that could very well represent a sun to me, just like maybe this kind of really low, dim sun, you know, out in the Arctic or something like that, If I had some icebergs or something like this in the water, it would seem like completely appropriate for it, this scene. But anyways, just to show that set there, all of these stamps are available individually as well, but they also come in this little sheet set with the 4. And here's a couple different scenes. I'll have to experiment around a little bit more and do maybe like a sunset type of color scheme using the moons, and then the moons, if you use warm tones and oranges and yellows and whatnot, they can easily become suns. Just like in this one, you know, it could represent a sun. On the cooler side, you know, when you're using all cool tones, but you know, we want images to be as versatile as possible and be able to be changed around just with the use of some simple things like color scheme changes. So anyway, if you choose to watch the video, I hope you enjoy it and hope you enjoy the spooky sky set. Okay, this is a quick product testing video using the spooky sky set. There are 4 different images in it. They're all available individually as well. First time using these. I'm going to test out the impression and concept of these. These are all unmounted dies, and I have affixed it to the temporary mounting system of the tack and peel material that has been applied to the clear acrylic block. Okay, there is the, I think it's called Spooky Moon and Cloud. These are brand new, so I'm kind of forgetting the names early on, but it's something like that. Okay, now we have this cloud in here. You can fill in with tone around it, but these clouds are kind of made to go with the cloud and moon. I'll show you what this looks like off of that. The dots are kind of heavier on one side than the other. These two look, you know, identical when you just look at the bare rubber, but they should be a little bit denser on one half, so it kind of transitions from light to dark, okay? And I'll show you why that is, why that's been designed like that in a second here. Let me try this other one. Okay, one is darker, a little bit more dense than the other one, but they both have that transition in them, okay? And I'll show you why that is right now. Okay, so I have the lighter one right here, the Spooky Cloud Light, I think I called it. And I'll show you why it transitions and why one's lighter than the other. Okay, now, if this is our light source right here, okay, let's see. I'm going to stamp this down like this. Okay, so we have that transition going from light to dark in the cloud. Okay, let's do it again. Now, if the light source is coming from here, I have it lighter on the bottom of those clouds and darker on the top, so that was the way the impression went here. So when I do it underneath here, I'm going to flip the cloud around this way. So that it is lighter on the top. Okay, and now, I mean, you could use one or the other, but if you have the set and you feel so inclined, you can use the darker one as it moves farther away from that light source, or you can just overlap a little bit. You don't have to make it as dense as I'm doing either. You can make it, you know, the impression's more sparse. You know, like leaving some room in there, like so. All right, now that in itself, everything blends together. But now let's bring this all together with some additional tone. Let me just grab, I have a stylus tool here. And I could go with some additional colors in here, but you can also just put some black onto your applicator of choice. Could be a sponge, a cosmetic sponge or something like that, or we used to use paper towels before any of this, these accessories became available. And I'm just kind of going into it like so. Kind of streaking this color in from the outside edge in. This is glossy cardstock, so it makes it easier for me to blend in, streak in some tones, kind of, in a nice smooth manner, getting that transition. What I'm doing is I'm going like that, so it's darker and lighter like so. Let's dab a little bit more tone around the perimeter. It's going to go in for one of those, I don't know, when you look up at the sky sometimes there's striations of clouds up in the sky, and you have the moon kind of intermittently kind of peeking out from behind them. It's kind of going for that type of thing. The imagery is very kind of horizontally based, so you have as opposed to real billowy types of clouds. They're more kind of streaky in nature, and it kind of lends itself to this type of additional tone in terms of streaking and value. Maybe I'll even put some going across that moon like that. So it's just a very light kind of streak in there. Okay, you get the idea. You can have some trees down here, or if you had a lake or something like that, or cabin, or whatever. It gives it kind of an ominous look. Let's mix this up a little bit in terms of some additional tone. Let's put in some blue in here. Let's see here. I have that Memento Summer Sky from my last scene that I did. Why don't I just use some of that? Memento is a fairly light value of that blue. Let's see if you can see that. There's a little bit of a temperature change, from this side to this side. That's where I've added the blue here. So instead of just value, not that black alone doesn't look good, but you're kind of expanding the visual kind of vocabulary of the scene by introducing temperature into the scene. Here's a salvia of blue from Marvy. It's a little bit darker of a blue. You don't really see it as its pure tone when you're overlapping all this black and gray on the corners, but it does give a certain richness to that monochromatic value out there. In terms of that gray. You have cool grays, warm grays, neutral grays, and whatnot. And this is just going in, introducing a temperature to area. Okay, see that? This is the light blue. Now we're really kind of introducing temperature into the scene, sky, whatnot. But it's more vibrant and intense of a blue. So you're kind of expanding not only the temperature range, but you're expanding the the richness of that blue. It just has a different feel. At no point in time do I think, oh, this looks better. For me, it looks different. This is dark blue. It's just called Blue from Marvy. Okay. Okay, kind of looks interesting. I would say that looks fairly eerie. It kind of gives I don't know, I guess you can say on the emotional range, in terms of visual language, it's kind of a heavier looking scene or sky than, I don't know, some imagery that might be considered inherently, I don't know, lighter, I guess, you know. But, that being said, if I stamped all that imagery out in a light blue as opposed to a black, it would have a completely different emotional feel to it. It would look, you know, you wouldn't be able to see so much of the jagged sharpness of the imagery, okay? Alright, now here's another image that's new. It's a bare tree. I love bare trees in stamping. First of all, because you can see a lot of what's going on in the background, but the bare tree will often give the scene that element of depth by having something in the foreground. Okay, now I have different sizes of these trees here too. I'll do a different video for them, but I don't know, I have them right here, and I don't know, this is supposed to be product testing, but when I do a scene like that, or a background like that, I really want to finish it off somewhat, so might as well. Okay, looks pretty good. I need to do an image of some bats, or a bat, maybe. Not that this all has to be Halloween based, you know, you see bare trees out in nature in any forest. Okay. Okay, something like that. I think these trees are really wet right now, but some white paint on them might be kind of nice. Let me do one more impression that looks kind of like it's missing something to me. Let's go with the smaller tree down here. Let's go into another, see if I can just get another impression out of that one inking over here. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Now normally I wouldn't just, I would have to wait till it dries a little bit. Those trees are really, really wet right now. You can see that kind of glistening with the little beads of wet ink. But let me give it a try here. Let me put a little bit of kind of highlights on some of these branches. You have that kind of stark white. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay. Kind of getting that tree limb. Yeah, these tree limbs to stand out a little bit more. You put a few little highlights on the side of the tree that's facing the moon. Okay, so we have something like that. Some trees kind of capturing the light. On this side of the scene, I have highlights on the right side of the tree. And on this side, I have it on the left side. If you have a tree right here in the middle, you can just kind of put it on either side. Maybe a few on some of these branches right here. But I don't want to go overboard with it either. So anyway, that. Bare trees don't always have to be used together. You can use, a full pine tree as well, and just, the intermittent bare one or something like that. But kind of a fun little test. It's the first time I've ever used any of these stamps right here, but they work as intended, which is exactly what I want. I'm looking for impressions, I'm looking for the clarity of impression, and the way things blend in with one another. So we always want easy blending, we always want good impressions, the right dot density for what we're going after, and like I said, ease of use. So that's always the characteristics of any design that, let me get this glare out of the way here. That's always the characteristics of anything we want, right? Okay, anyway, that was the Spooky Sky set. I'll use some other ones. I'll use it in some other applications, and I'll put it next to the image, or the what I call the stamp modules on the website. I'll try to come up with some other samples using, I don't know, some different colors and values to give it a different type of look. So we want, also we want things to be very, when it comes to scenic stamps, we want them to be versatile. So it's called Spooky Sky Set, but there's also, you can use it in a very tranquil type of application as well, by using lighter values and kind of emotionally lighter tones. Okay, like pastels or something like that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that little product test, and thanks for watching.